Hey folks, welcome back to the Gotham and Beyond podcast. I'm your host Vince, and today I want to talk about something that I think every superhero game master runs into sooner or later. You start a new campaign and everybody is all excited. People are making characters, they're throwing around ideas. Someone wants flight or someone wants a super strength. Somebody wants to be a billionaire vigilante. You get that idea. Somebody else wants to play a cosmic energy being. You get through character creation, you run a few sessions, and then suddenly the campaign starts to fall apart. I don't know why. Maybe players stop showing up, maybe the story stopped feeling exciting, or maybe one character dominates every scene and annoys everyone else. Maybe nobody seems interested in anymore, which does happen from time to time when it comes to superhero games. And the strange thing is that it usually isn't because the rules are bad. It isn't because DC Heroes is bad. In fact, DC Heroes 3rd Edition is one of the best superhero role-playing games ever made for handling comic book action when it comes to rules and stuff. The problem is usually the campaign design. Over the years, I've noticed that the same mistakes show up again and again. And it's not just in DC Heroes, but superhero games in general. So today I really wanted to talk about kind of a couple reasons why superhero games fall apart. Too many, and we're going to kind of start here with like too many NPC heroes, stakes that get too big too fast, and everyone wants to kind of play quote unquote Superman. And power imbalance at the table. Let's start with what I think is probably the most common problem here. Too many NPC heroes or hero NPCs. This is the one usually starts with good intentions, and you as a game master love DC Comics because you're playing a DC Heroes game. I get it. You want Batman walking through the Batcave. You want Superman, flying overhead saving the day. You want Wonder Woman showing up. Maybe Green Lantern stops by. Whatever. The problem is that before long, players stop feeling like the center of attention to heroes. Think about it for a second. Playing your game, and Batman is already solving every mystery for you. Why does your detective character matter if Batman's there doing it for you, right? If Superman's always around, why are the players even fighting the villains? Just let Superman do it. If the Justice League shows up and they respond to all these crises, why is your player character team even needed? I've seen campaigns where players basically become spectators in somebody else's comic book adventure that they want to make up as a GM. The Game Master was so excited to show off all these famous heroes that the players' characters became background characters to what his story was. And that's kind of deadly when you think about it. Players don't show up to play Batman's sidekick, unless they specifically signed up to play Batman's sidekick, which I don't think I know a lot of people would do that. I mean, maybe if they're playing like what we call one-on-one game, it's just you and the GM, and all right, I'm going off on a tangent here, but anyway, they want to be stars of the game when they come to the table. The campaign should be about them. Now, that doesn't mean famous heroes can never appear, because of course they can. That's always the fun part. Batman showing up once in a while could be fun. Superman appearing during a major event could become really memorable at the table. The trick is making sure those characters support the story instead of taking over the story, which a lot of GMs do most of the time. We want the players solving the problem. The players should save the day. The players should be the ones in the spotlight. The Justice League can exist. Just don't let them become the main characters of the story. Now, second reason DC hero campaigns fall apart or fail is that the stakes get too big too fast, and this happens quite often in a lot of games. The first adventure is, a bank robbery. The second adventure is an alien invasion. It's like, what, huh? And the third adventure is a crisis threatening the entire planet, and the fourth adventure somehow evolves to destruction of reality itself. See how it's escalating there? And now the campaign has nowhere left to go. Comic books understand something that role-playing games sometimes kind of forget. You have to earn the big stories. Batman didn't wake up one morning and decide he's going to fight Darkseid. Well, he wouldn't last too long, but the Teen Titans didn't start by saving the multi-universe. These heroes had dozens and sometimes hundreds of stories before reaching those kind of threats. Players need time to become attached to their characters and know how to use them. They need victories, they need failures, they need to generate relationships and rivalries. A superhero campaign gets stronger when players care about what's at risk. So let's say a villain threatens the entire Earth in Session 3. Okay, it's a little bit much. The players know the Earth is important, but they don't really know anybody yet. Now compare that to a campaign that has been running for like 6 months. The heroes have favorite NPCs, they have family members, they probably have some friends, they have neighborhoods they protect, they have enemies they've probably battled before and reoccurring. Now, when a threat appears, the stakes kind of feel a little bit more personal. That's where the emotional investment comes from. I think a lot of the game masters are afraid small stories won't feel too heroic when it comes to the game. That's not always true. Stopping a serial killer can be very heroic. Protecting a witness can be heroic, and preventing a gang war can also be heroic. Rescuing people trapped in a building, another example of heroic. Some of the best comic book stories ever written have very small stakes involved. The entire universe doesn't need to explode every single week for it to work. In fact, when every story is world-ending, eventually nothing feels important anymore. A third reason campaigns fall apart or fail is one that DC Heroes has struggled with since the game was first published that I've noticed. Now, everybody wants to play Superman. Now, before somebody writes me an angry email, I'm not talking about literally playing Superman. I'm talking about the desire to build the strongest character at the table, the fastest, the toughest, and the character that can solve any problem. You see where I'm going here. The character who has an answer for everything. Here's the thing. I understand that temptation to do that. Superhero games are one of the few genres where players can build almost anything. You could fly, throw tanks, move, faster than sound, read minds, control weather, and travel through time. It's all exciting, but there's a hidden trap. The more powerful a character becomes, the harder it becomes to challenge that character as a GM. Imagine one player builds a hero who can cross an entire city in seconds. Another builds a hero whose main power is being good with a bow. Who gets more of the spotlight here? Who gets to respond to emergencies first? Who gets involved in more scenes? And who solves more problems? The answer is usually obvious here, and after a while, the other player starts feeling less important than the one that's getting the spotlight because he can respond a little bit more quicker. The issue isn't that powerful heroes are bad. The issue is that campaigns work best when everybody has a reason to contribute to the campaign. Every hero should have a moment where they shine. Every hero should have moments where they struggle as well. Every hero should feel necessary, and that's much harder to do when one character can solve 90% of the problems before anyone else gets involved in the issue at all. And the fourth reason campaigns fail is power imbalance. And this one is tricky because DC Comics itself has power imbalance all over the place when you read it. Look at the Justice League. You got Superman, then you got Batman. One can move planets, the other has a utility belt. On paper, that should never really work, but it does. Why? Because comics, they cheat. And I don't mean in a bad way. Comic books control the spotlight. When Batman needs to be important, the writer gives him the most important scene in the comic that issue. When Green Arrow needs to matter, the writer gives him something only Green Arrow can do. You get the idea here. Where it comes to Flash, he can do his thing, blah, blah, blah. Superman, his thing, you got it. The writers control everything. A game master doesn't really have that luxury. Players can go anywhere, and he can't predict everywhere players are going to go. They can make unexpected choices, which always happens. Anything that you think of, they're never going to do that, and they're probably going to do just the opposite. And they're going to probably ignore your plans as well, and that means power imbalance becomes much more noticeable. So let's just say one of your characters, one of your players builds a detective like a Batman. Another one builds a martial artist. Another one builds a flying brick who can punch through battleships. Now a giant robot attacks downtown. Okay, who gets the spotlight? Probably the flying brick guy, well, obviously. Detective might help, and the martial artist might help as well, but everyone knows in the group who's going to be taking center stage during that fight. Now, reversing it, say you're playing a murder mystery involving a corrupt politician. Suddenly, the detective character, he shines. The flying brick, well, he's actually going to struggle because punching things isn't really the answer here, and you'll have nothing to really punch. That's healthy. That's what you really want. A good campaign rotates spotlights opportunities. Different adventures should reward different strengths. Sometimes the strongest hero saves the day, the smartest hero saves the day, and sometimes the most connected hero saves the day as well. When players feel useful, they stay engaged. When players feel irrelevant, they start checking out. And once that starts happening, campaigns begin to die. Now, I think there's another issue hiding underneath all four of these problems, and that's expectations. There's a lot of expectations when it comes to a campaign. And a lot of superhero campaigns start without a clear vision. Everybody shows up with a different comic book in their head. One player wants to play in Gotham, another in Cosmic Adventures. One player wants Teen Titans, another one wants Watchmen, blah, 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 blah. So those ideas can all be great. The problem is trying to run all of them at the same time. Before the campaign even starts, the group needs to know what kind of comic book they're making. Are you street level, global defenders, young heroes learning the ropes, or veterans? Is this campaign serious, light, hearted, or is it dark? These conversations need to be done before the game to solve a lot of problems before they ever reach the table. Because if everyone is building towards the same vision, character creation becomes a lot easier, adventure design becomes easier, and the spotlights become a little bit easier. The campaign gains a sense of identity, and identity is really important. Think about major DC teams. The Justice League has an identity, the Titans have an identity, and Doom Patrol has an identity. You know what kind of stories belong with those teams? Your campaign should have the same feeling. When players can immediately describe what the campaign is about, you're definitely on the right track there. So if I had to point to the biggest lesson here, it's this. Most DC hero campaigns don't fall apart because of the rules. They don't fall apart because players made bad characters. They usually fail because the campaign loses focus. Too many NPC heroes steal the spotlight. The stakes escalate faster than the players could become invested. One character becomes so powerful, everyone else just feels like, what's the point of playing? And sometimes the group just never agrees on what kind of comic book they're playing in the first place. The good news about all this is that every one of those problems can be fixed. Keep the focus on player characters, let the campaign grow naturally, give every hero a chance to matter in the campaign, and make sure everyone is building towards the same vision. Do those things and you'll be surprised how long a superhero campaign can last. Some of the best campaigns I've ever seen weren't about saving the multi-universe, they were about a group of heroes protecting their city, dealing with enemies, building relationships, and slowly becoming legends over time. And that builds memories, and that's where those memories come from that they talk about to this day. So that's where it really shines. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a superhero game fall apart? What caused it? Was it a power imbalance? Was it a spotlight issue? Or was it something completely different? I'd like to know in the comments. Go to gotham-database.com and you can comment there or just comment on the post wherever you find it. Spotify is a great place to comment as well. They allow multiple comments now at this point if you have a Spotify account. Check us out there or check us out on Twitter, Gotham Database. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everybody. I'm out.